At the Dust Glacier Smog, Peter Jackson won't be coming out to talk about it, unfortunately. No Orlando Bloom, unfortunately. So
just cool stuff from us.
No new trailer from the studio.
And real quickly, I would like to acknowledge our staff. We got a whole bunch of staff sort of scattered throughout the hall. Catherine, who else is out there? Nancy's here, Subi's over here.
Would everybody who is torn staff in the audience
just stand up.
Stand up?
Nicole, yeah. Josh, Platinum Lady. And how many people here are in token costume? I know we've got some dwarves over here. All right. Right after the panel, we're all going to meet out outside and just take a group shot. Well, we're going to go out this way, I think, and then go around. But got that? All right.
Let us begin.
Okay, as I said, there is going to be some video elements. No video element.
They're trying to acknowledge the fans, and Peter Jackson would like to be here and acknowledge the fans, but as you guys know, a little while ago he said, I'm busy making a movie right now, so it's up to us, wondering.net, to give you the goods.
He's too busy to come here, really.
We weren't.
You know what, I got an email from John Callan the other day, and he said, everyone has left the set. The elves are gone, Martin Freeman's gone, Mr. Cumberbatch is gone, the only people left are just the dwarves, and they've got maybe 7 days left of exclusively filming the last little bits of Tolkien history of the Hobbit on that set, just with the dwarven company, and that's it, they're all done. Yeah, so anyway.
Okay, so a little bit about the website.
Yes, well, we started the OneRing.net in 1998. We first got word that they were going to do a Lord of the Rings trilogy. We are a 100% volunteer, fan-created and fan-driven website. We've never made any money. Whenever we did make money, we donated all of our proceeds to the World Literacy Fund from the very beginning.
It's all about the Kelly Alex?
Yes, introduce yourself.
Hello. We're Keely and Bailey from Happy Hobbit. I'm sure maybe some of you have seen our little bit of insanity that went around Hobbit trailer. So the OneRing.net is also championing. I'm an English major. The Tolkien community online and in the real world. Just
This is the real world, by the way. Although wouldn't you love to be in Middle Earth? Yeah, our website's pretty active. How many people here actually frequent our message boards?
Oh, that's good.
Yay! And our chat rooms, Parliaments? Any Barley chatters? Okay, I see it. Awesome.
Well, we have a really, really big website. It's a community website that attracts people from all over the world. And hello, you guys. And we have fans from Brazil, from Japan, and from everywhere in Europe, and they come to talk and share their ideas and to debate the merits or the demerits of the film adaptations. But we all love Tolkien and the original books. You can find our presence on the OneRing.net, and of course on our Facebook. We have an interesting timeline that's filled with jokes and memes, and we update everyone with the latest news and gossip as we find it on the interwebs.
One of my favorite things is the international tabs, because Facebook is international and allows them to type in their home font. We get a lot of posts in Spanish and Croatian and Russian and stuff like that. And you can hit the translation and read what, I just love the fact that they're interacting in their home native languages on Facebook.
Yes. And actually, much of our reporting has come from staff, such as myself, who secretly visited the set. And one of our staff members who is not present, Mr. Larry Curtis, he was placed on the set for a number of months.
He was there for a while.
Yes, and he's not with us today, but he's here in spirit. And he had so many great pictures and stories, and we're going to be bringing more content to you throughout the year as we approach the release of the second Hobbit film in the series.
All right, we've got obviously we have covered Chad, so we covered that on the honest.
One more thing. Aside from our friends Kelly and Alex doing the Happy Hobbit podcast, every Tuesday at 5 o'clock, you can join me live with a variety of artists and writers and other people. I do a live webcast called Torn Tuesday. And I want to give a shout out to Donato. Donato Giancola, where are you, my friend? Very talented and famous Tolkien painter and artist. Donato, will you be my guest on my next show? Certainly, okay.
And bring some artwork to show on the show.
And get your bloody Skype working, man, so we can do that. Okay, good. All right, excellent.
All right.
Just hitting up for another work.
Now,
Yes, we will be selling a plethora of amazing shirts and buttons and an exclusive poster for Comic-Con at 2 locations, at the What a Workshop booth, which is 3513B, and also at our friends at Vidali Jewelry at 532. So please come and buy amazing things from them and amazing things from us.
And here's some of the stuff.
Here are some of the cool things you can buy.
we never make any money, like we've said before, and so your support as fans, we really appreciate it when we're at these shows. You can just buy a t-shirt or buy a button. You can help us pay for our bandwidth, and we will keep bringing you all the news and the debates and the gossip about Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit as long as we can.
And that volunteer to help thing?
Yes.
Let's see, for the Oscar party, we ended up recruiting a whole bunch of new staff because we need people who could sew and
There
paint.
somewhere.
Yeah, so we've got a bunch of our artisans over here for our unique skills. And we've also started requesting help from artists for t-shirt and poster ideas, which brings us to Mr. David over there. David, now I know you can see the picture, but he's got a copy.
You've probably seen it.
This is his creation. He came up with it, and we're loving this road. Woo! I know you will work for this. This is a very, very big part of it because this is why so many women are working now because of the Rosie the Riveter propaganda posters.
Somebody asked me, let's do a propaganda slogan for this poster, and I said, women for a 5-army solution. Yes, thank you. It works. And next month we're going to have a fund drive, a really good fundraiser, so we can keep things going and get ourselves out of debt. And you guys stay tuned to the OneWeek.net, and we will bring you more details on that. We're going to have some, thank you, Donato, for mentioning that earlier. We're going to have artwork from a lot of great artists and people who are donating stuff. And we've got sponsorship opportunities for you big boys out there who want to write a check. We'll talk about that later. Thank you guys. Stay tuned for more details on that.
Talk to me backstage, we can check out the cash.
Yes.
And again, go down and pick up stuff because, I mean, who doesn't like the one throne of them all? Is that not the perfect mashup there?
We're almost sold out, but we're going to be getting more on Saturday.
We are? Oh, good.
Yay. Okay. Here's our table of contents. We're just going to read through it and not say anything. We're just going to read right through it because there's a whole bunch. This is our table of contents of what we're talking about. Obviously, the film starts on the 13th of December. That is a Friday. Friday the 13th.
Really? Okay.
We know that they're going to visit Bjorn's house first because they're at the Carrock, so short of bathing in the river next to the Carrock,
Yes.
we're going home.
Did you guys notice the bear shape that was in the Carrock that was shown in the last moments of the film? Yeah. Yes, I did at first. I watched it again and I thought, oh, okay.
Next we're going into Mirkwood and the spiders. And next, after that, the company gets captured by the Wood Elves, and that means Legolas. And then we have the jailbreak and the barrel riding and the craziness that we've seen in the trailer that ensues.
Then there's the dramatic arrival in Lake Town, which means bar.
As played by Luke Evans, who you saw in The Immortals, and you also saw him in The Three Musketeers,
Fast and the Furious 6.
and Fast and Furious 6.
And who will be the next Crow?
Yes, I saw that on IMDb, yeah.
And the next Dracula.
And he's going to be Dracula. And so
Dude's
there's
gonna be
Jonathan Rhys Meyers, apparently.
He's going to be undead for a while there, then.
I think that Luke Evans and Benedict Cumberbatch are going to get the 2 busiest fellows in Hollywood.
Seriously.
Working on everything.
All right. We also then know that we're finally going to get to the Lava Mountain. And discover the hidden door. And what does that mean?
And then the meeting with Smaug. And meanwhile, Gandalf and Radagast are doing some stuff.
Can we do a quick poll? Everybody here saw the teaser trailer for The Desolation of Smaug? If you did see it, yes. Now, how many of you guys think it was a good idea to reveal the dragon's face in that trailer? Raise your hands. Only a few, only a few.
So do you wanted him hidden?
You would raise your hands if you would rather have Smaug have been hidden until the film. Endlessly fascinating to me.
And then the big question, where will this movie end? At what point? We'll get into that. So
This is about all we've seen of Bjorn's house.
this is everything that we've seen of Bjorn's house, and this was in the special sneak peek that Peter Jackson put together that you had to buy a Hobbit Blu-ray to watch.
And you can tell it's in the aspect ratio for a large Bjorn because everybody looks short.
And then this is what we've seen of Bjorn.
Now,
At least we assume that's Bjorn.
there's also speculation that there's a different bear trying to attack the hut from the outside, and perhaps in this sequence, Bjorn will come and rescue the dwarves from imminent danger. Because everybody says, well, Bjorn is a friend. He's the friend of Gandalf, blah, blah,
That is
blah.
a seriously big bear.
Yeah. But then again, Gandalf warned them, don't go outside.
Yeah.
Remember?
And will we see the animal servants that Bjorn has? The horses that will come in and...
That
I'm
just
ready
shows
for
you very
ponies serving
Narnia.
soft drinks. I just aren't ready for it.
I want to see the ponies and the sheeps come out and do that catering gig. I want to see that.
Because he caters.
When I'm forced to. Yes.
And I love this shot.
Mirkwood's not too shabby, at least in this scene, Mirkwood's not too shabby.
In this scene, that scene not so much.
I think he's going to we're going to feel the horror of those spiders. I mean, just look at them. Martin's just going to, he's going to kill this scene.
And so the big question we've been discussing this weekend is,
Will the spiders talk? Because the eagles didn't speak in the first Hobbit movie, although they do in the book. So will we hear that great little line, the song from Bilbo?
Attercop, Lazy Lob.
Yes, well, the
And
spiders
can
talk.
Martin Freeman pull off that line without sounding ridiculous?
I think he can. Martin
Anybody
Freeman
can pull that off without
anyone.
sounding ridiculous. It's him.
Another quick show of hands. Would you like to see the spiders talk and hiss and spit their language? Would you like to see that? Don't hold your breath. Well, I mean, if the eagles haven't been talking all this time, then I doubt that the spiders will.
And
But I would
I know
like to
some
see
of you are like, oh God, it's bad enough that they're there. They have to talk now.
All right, well, the dwarves are going to get captured. So the top is them being captured right after they've gotten loose from the place, because they still got weapons on them. And then, of course, then they get to go through the labyrinth of the Wood Elves realm, which is actually kind of pretty. But that didn't help.
And then
Speaking of
our new
pretty-
elves. Elves. Thronduil, Legolas, and Tario.
Have y'all been down to Weta and seen the new statues for Tario and Thranduil? It's looking pretty cool.
special shout. Special shout. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Let's say funny that Lee Pace is playing Legolas's father. I think he actually is a couple of years younger than Orlando.
If not the exact same age.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Evangeline Lilly, who's here at Comic-Con this weekend.
She's here, but not here.
No, it's
She
really
will be at the Weta booth this weekend signing autographs.
She'll be signing a lot, so get your Tauriel posters and get them signed.
All right, there's a little rumor that started last year when Aiden opened his mouth and said,
Keely's part. Oh, God. All right.
Yeah, we're gonna go there.
All right, very good. All right, we're going to talk about this because there's a certain thing, a subplot that has been suggested by Aiden Turner's interview. He said that Keely's part has been expanded from the novel as well as chasing treasure. He's also chasing tail. Excuse me. But is he setting his sights too high? I guess he knows nothing can ever happen. She's about 20 feet tall and he's only 2.
we're calling it golfing. For all you shippers out there, we're calling it golfing.
Little hot 12th action.
we were told to reconsider the fact that of all the dwarves in all of Thorne's company, one of them does not have a beard, one of them does not have prosthetic makeup, one of them looks more humanoid than dwarven in all aspects.
And has a bow.
And has a bow. And so, whether or not there's some kind of interesting crisscross or affection that is unrequited, I hope it's unrequited.
We hope it's Gimli and Galadriel type of
Well,
relationship.
from everything we've seen, Tariel is much more open to the dwarves' presence than everybody else. Like, she's a little bit more welcoming to them than everybody else, and maybe Keeley sort of latches onto that. So you're saying he has a
I like
chance?
Toriel.
I'm not saying he has a chance, I'm just saying that's probably what gets him in.
And I see it more along the lines of how Gimli felt towards Galadriel, that admiration and that kind of awe. Not necessarily there's going to be some hot steamy scene.
Wow.
And as we know that after the capture is barrels at one.
And anybody remember the book as well as I do, you'll know that when Bilbo successfully gets the dwarves into those barrels, he seals them shut.
Yes.
And they get to have a quiet, floating, if you move.
Not this time.
Not this time.
It's Peter Jackson, nothing can go, quiet.
Now they're getting chased by orcs the whole way down.
And yes. Oh wow, look at that.
Yes.
We know, Azog and his band and Mary flying orcs are bad.
Okay, I actually have a quick poll question for everybody. Who here likes Azog? Who here wants to see him die quickly?
And just
Interesting.
in case anybody didn't know, that second shot of the arrow, that is actually not Azog. If you notice, he's got two
He's got two hands.
So,
Sorry. Of course, he
And
can
you
get
can hand
later on.
Do you know what? If you go to your iPhone and talk to Siri and say, Azog the pale orc, she'll give you back all the pale pork. Thank you, Apple.
All right, now you look closely at the boat. It does have the barrels. This is them physically arriving at the lake town, where, of course, they pronounce themselves.
And they've got the change of seasons right. There's a lot of conversation in the first Hobbit film where they're looking at the moon letters, and Balin says, if we get there on time, we still have time to get there before Durin's Day. And that happens at the end of the year. So as they arrive in Lake Down, which is called Esgaroth on the Long Lake, we notice the very first snows of winter.
And Esther.
Mr. Stephen Fry.
So we see surprisingly very little of. We saw a little bit of him in that sneak peek, and nothing in the trailer.
yeah, it's been some of Peter Jackson's production videos.
But we also have...
And then we have not Will Turner.
Yes, this is Lucas, it says Bard Bowman, and his son is Bane, played by Mr. John Bell.
Who I think was a preteen when they started, and now he's a full teen. Okay, other video alert coming along. No videos.
Shut off those cameras.
Walsh and Philippa Boyens and Peter Jackson, the writers, have added in more details about Bard's life and his family, because in the appendix, at the end of The Lord of the Rings, you'll see that Bard's descendants succeed in building a new kingdom in Lake Town and in Dale, and I believe they resettled Dale, don't they?
Yeah.
Yes.
So they rebuilt Dale.
Yeah, we get to see a direct glimpse into the new lineage of the kingdom of men that will live in cooperation with the dwarves at the very end of the Hobbit story. Yes.
Speaking of
Then we have
the kingdom of Dale.
Aragorn.
Yeah, that one.
That one, yes. Right.
Dale, Aragorn, the two are different. The two are the same.
And in that lower shot,
Oh wait, did I say that out loud?
In the lower shot, you can see that the dwarves are actually climbing up the hammer.
Yeah, that.
It's a staircase. We're climbing up the dwarf statue. It's really kind of cool.
it is cool.
And you can see bigger pictures of it. We were trying to fit into images at the same time. And there's the door. This is Thorn. They finally got the door open. This is the inside of the door. You can see there's carvings on the inside of the door. It's nice and symmetrical. I mean, it's a dwarven entryway.
I really like the look on Richard Armitage's face. He hasn't been back there. He hasn't been back there in so long, and he's being flooded with memories, very ugly memories of what happened that day when Smaug attacked. That's going to be a really cool scene. But he probably won't go in. He'll just say, "Go ahead, Bilbo. Go down and burgle something."
And he goes down and burgles something, and this happens.
That's no earthquake, Blackie.
And I like this because it's the inside and outside the same one.
Everybody loved Ken Stott as Balin. Isn't he great?
He's awesome. He's like,
You know what's down the bottom of that hole, right?
How many people can't wait to hear his voice coming out of his...
This dragon's normal, better speak. I don't, you know, the spiders, I can live with the spiders not speaking.
If they do speak, Benedict Cumberbatch should do the voices for them too.
if there's anything evil that has a voice ever, Benedict Cumberbatch should do the voice.
Or Christopher Lee.
Or Christopher Lee. And Bilbo meets Smaug.
And this shot with Benedict and Martin was from Martin's last day on set. So you get to see them both. Clearly, Smaug has a foot fetish.
But you know,
They seem to get along a lot better in that first one.
it's not like they're not going to see each other again. They were practically going back to shoot Sherlock season 3 the next day. Right? Damn right.
Thank you. So, another excursion that takes us away from the original text of The Hobbit and gives us a little bit more of what I call Hobbit 2.0. The writers are going to take Gandalf exploring the far northern tombs that are discussed in that White Council scene in An Unexpected Dream.
To see if the dagger really did come from him, obviously.
Yes.
And of course, he's joined by...
Sylvester McCoy as Ratbat.
Another really cool statue down the stairs. They actually really got it right.
What is the seventh Doctor as Radagast?
Was it the seventh Doctor who's about as goofy as Radagast?
He plays this
He
quite
could.
well. Yes,
All right,
he does.
one more video coming up. Off with your videos. Thanks.
I was up for Bilbo Baggins originally, and I got down to
Peter pulled him aside and said, "It's okay, Sylvester, you'll be pleased we've written you a bigger part." Though this is what we learn reading between the lines. Radagast will have a much more significant part in the next 2 films than any of us suspect.
Nice.
And he mentioned doing a scene with Kate, so he didn't do it in the White Council, so he's going to be on screen with Kate, isn't he?
Okay, absolutely. Well, last year when we were interviewing Philippa Boyens, she was congratulating Kate Blanchett for such a great job she did, and the screenwriter actually said, "Kate was so wonderful, she came back and she worked so hard, and she worked on the Battle of Dol Guldur, and the White Council scene, and all those other scenes," and I went, "Are you kidding me? There's a Battle of Dol Guldur?"
Are we going to see Galadriel in action?
According to the screenwriter, yes.
Whoa. That alone is worth the price of admission.
I'm going to rephrase that. According to the Oscar-winning screenwriter, yes.
We just don't know if this is movie 2 or movie 3.
Yes.
All right, so these are a few little hints of things to come. Obviously,
This is some Battle of 5 Armies.
you can see that the whole open army, and Thranduil in his armor, which we got a sneak peek when we had that reaction video with Happy Hobbits.
Yeah.
Reaction video to the trailer.
When Kelly and Alex did their reaction to the trailer, when Orlando, Lee Pace, and Evangeline Lilly did their reaction, that was our first look at Lee Pace in Thranduil's armor. So you got a scoop for us.
Yes. But you can tell he's in the battle because, hey, he's got a cut on his face. So
Now, this
either his dad or his son.
I have to ask this to people because this has been bugging me since I first saw this picture of Thranduil. And does anybody else think he looks suspiciously like Datak Tar from Defiance?
There you go.
Of course, this was probably filmed a while ago.
I know,
He's had
I'm
this
just
look
saying.
for about a year.
I'm just saying.
It does appear that he's perhaps at the ruins of Dale. In this particular scene.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Rebecca. Thank you. There's a scene where we saw Gandalf and Legolas and Thranduil together.
No,
Who did we see together?
Tariel.
Tariel and Legolas meeting with Gandalf in the ruins of Dale.
Actually, it was the actors meeting each other because they all had their hair up in little buns and things like that. It was the actors, not the characters.
Oh, so we don't know if they're going to have an actual dialogue.
No. Although Battle
I would assume
is
they
when
do.
Bilbo comes down and has things that he's not supposed to have. And, yeah.
Yes.
We're trying not to spoil it, but yeah, he's there.
Yeah, he's got that thing.
75-year-old spoiler, but
Has everybody here read the book? Everybody
hasn't
here
read
not
the
read the book.
Justin is the only person who's not read the book.
Justin, you're getting spoiled, I'm sorry to
a
say.
bunch of people die at the
We're
end
not.
of it.
Shut it off.
Okay. Oh, well.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so in Empire magazine, Peter Jackson sort of made a little joke saying, I'll probably get struck off the One Ring Party list, but I'm enjoying deviating from the book. So first of all, I'd just like to state for the record, no matter what you do, Peter Jackson, you're still invited to the party.
But also for the record, yes, so there's people who keep yelling, it's already on film, it's filmed, it's done. Those characters are in, the other people die, or they don't.
It will never change the book. It
It'll
will never
never
change
change
the
the
text of the book.
It'll never change the cartoon, which we grew up with.
I love that.
Good or bad.
Good or bad. So what do we think of these deviations from the text? Do we like them? Do we not like them? How do we feel about them?
Deviations.
How
okay.
many people really can't stand that Tariel is this new character in the movies? Very few.
How many people are looking forward to Tariel?
Thank you.
I am so glad that people are
And how many are on the fence still? Good, good.
Okay,
They are.
okay.
I'd
Taking away
like you to decide to make
I
up your mind
understand.
and see it.
That's good. May I say, when I went to do a secret spy visit last April to visit the set, and I was there in stealth mode because I wasn't there to do Larry's job. I was there to enjoy and relax. And I got to go to the second unit where Andy Serkis was directing an action sequence with Legolas and Tariel. And I'm very impressed with Mr. Bloom. He's doing all of his own stunts, and all of his own fight scenes, and he's looking very hale and hearty, and he's doing a very good job. Miss Evangeline Lilly came up and said, oh, well, hello, how are you? I can see that you're a visitor. She saw my badge and knew that I wasn't supposed to be on the set. And she said, hi, you're visiting. Are you having a good time? Are you enjoying your visit? And she was tremendously welcoming, very warm, and she was just so lovely and nice to me. And I said, oh my God, she really is Canadian. I had to do that. Seriously. But the funny thing is that I don't mind that there's these deviations with adding characters and taking things out, because you still have 75 years of publishing history of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, and as long as Peter's films bring more readers and more young people to read more Tolkien, I'm happy with that. It's pretty fine.
After all, do we really want
Oh, good God, no.
Hey,
I saw
we
Priscilla
can
Queen of the
sing and
Desert. I
dance
know
with
his singing
Priscilla.
ability.
You can do it.
Back on topic, extended edition.
So,
Extended
yeah,
edition.
the extended editions. So, how many people are looking forward to the extended edition of The Hobbit? Yes! Thank you. Because we were discussing this, and a lot of the early criticisms of the Next Magic Journey was that it was too long. It felt too long. They were taking too much time in back end.
Give me 15, 20 more minutes in the bag end.
I don't totally agree. Now, I will grant you that my first viewing of it was at midnight. I was very tired. I was halfway through, I wanted to go to bed, but that was because I had just come home a full day of work. But I still think that it's a very tight movie for everything that they're adding into it.
I think it's the best pacing that Peter has had in his editing in a very long time.
Yeah.
It's better paced than King Kong by a million miles.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I like it. I like it.
And I've been really curious to see what they had to add in.
Guess what? In the brand new Empire magazine that just came out in the United Kingdom, Peter let slip some of the details that will be added to the extended edition. We will see more of the dwarves making a mess of things in the back end.
Yes.
Rivendell. Excuse me, Rivendell. And so we'll see.
He's there.
He uses the word desecration. He said, you will see dwarven desecration of Rivendell is played for comedy.
More of the broken table bomber, and they're all laughing, more of that.
Well, the ripping up the furniture, you know, they built a campfire out of the bloody table. You know?
Okay, so then the other topic with the extended editions is that DVD and Blu-ray sales overall are falling. They're not quite as robust as they were back in 2004, and I have a little bit of a unique insight into this because I actually work in DVD and Blu-ray production. That's my day job. My day job is working on Blu-ray of a little TV show you might have heard of called Star Trek Next Generation.
The work that you guys and your whole team did on that is fantastic.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Really, it's great.
We're all very proud of it. But
And he works long hours doing it.
I work very long hours doing it, yes. But one of the things that we've been noticing is there's a lot of hand-wringing, especially in the higher up echelons, about whether or not it's still financially viable. Because sales are faltering, and this is a very satisfy me now type of age, where it's like if we see so much as the slightest decline in something, then we nix it entirely. And I'm hoping that Blu-ray doesn't go that way because, first of all, it's how I make a living. Second of all, it's a very good medium. Like, you can get a lot of information, a lot of visual information in it that you still can't get with streaming. Like, even to your HD TV, it's never as good as what you can see on a Blu-ray.
Well, the weekend after Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey came out on Blu-ray and home video, The Hollywood Reporter reported this headline: The Hobbit dominates Blu-ray and DVD charts, blowing Les Miserables and Zero Dark 30 out of the water. So, so much for the gloom and doom about DVD sales, because it's like...
I have a feeling that the extended editions for The Hobbit will do very well. I don't know about you, but I personally held off from buying the theatrical Hobbit because I knew I was going to buy the extended edition. I know, I'm a terrible fan.
Well, and just very quickly, because I know we have a lot of other stuff, I think Lord of the Rings is going to set the bar as far as extended editions of movies and all of the extra content and all the footage and all the behind the scenes. So, you know, Peter Jackson loves doing that kind of stuff, so I think we can expect a really amazing extended edition of The Hobbit.
Very good.
So, was there anything else you said to the Empire there? I know there was more than just the dwarves taking that.
There would be more content in the Shire because Philippa Boyen said, we wanted to wander around the Shire and see how green and agrarian and beautiful their culture was.
Plus, we wanted to see the homebody that is Bilbo.
Yeah, and she said the problem was, in the theatrical cut, we just had to have Bilbo rush out the door real fast. With that nice aerial shot. We've never seen an aerial shot.
That was a really good
Hobbit
shot.
like that. It was really nice. So we'll get to explore some more of the Shire while we're there.
By the way, if you ever find yourself down in New Zealand and want to visit the Shire, Russell Alexander, one of the owners of the farm, is here at the down the road.
This gentleman has seen his sheep farm completely transformed. Not once, but twice.
They still
And
have
having
sheep.
just been there in November, I can tell you it is worth the trip to go.
Yes. Russell, can we say something about the Green Dragon? We can? They have completed construction on a beautiful Green Dragon pub that's there. And you guys, when you go and visit Hobbiton, you guys are going to be open for weddings and for ceremonies and for people who want to have nice birthdays.
Or you can just want to go in and have a pint with the Green
Right
Dragon.
there.
They opened it the day after we were there, so we didn't get to see it.
And you guys are about 20 minutes outside of Manhattan, right? Yeah, okay, very good. All right, it's good.
Q&A time.
Q&A. So, anybody has a question?
I think we got a microphone right over
Microphone's
there.
right over here. If any of you have questions, you want to know stuff. Yeah, where he's got his hand up.
No, don't be afraid.
All right, this person.
I like shipping just as much as the next person, but I feel kind of disappointed almost if they're trying to push a tutorial, romantic, even if it's kind of just a cute little crush thing, I think it kind of dilutes the importance of that moment that Gimli had with Galadriel, not just like for the original trilogy, but for all of dwarf-elf relations and that history. And I think it'd be kind of, I don't like to say this, I trust Peter Jackson, but I do feel like it'd be kind of cheap to throw that away. Does that make sense?
We've had this conversation just last year at WonderCon where somebody said the same thing, and I appreciate that. There's something that Gimli says in the Fellowship of the Ring during the Rivendell Council of Elrond. He says, never trust an elf. If something ugly happens between Tauriel and Keely, and if one person causes the death of the other, and if Gawain passes this information to his son, then Gimli has more of a reason, more of an emotional resonance to say that.
As opposed to just general racism, which
Yeah.
is sort of what we thought it was.
Yes, I mean, and since all of America is gripped with this conversation of racial violence right now, which is unfortunate but true, maybe it is the purpose of the fantasy storytelling to reflect some of that racial tension. And maybe, hopefully, the writers have a good reason for pushing the story in that direction. But in the meantime, I'm just as cautious as you.
That's
Yeah.
a great point.
And real quick note is down at the Vidali booth, we've got a raffle going on to win this statue, which is basically a $900 statue of the Black Riders. Those of you who are coming to the Weta booths about 10 years ago would have seen this in full-size scale, so it's that Black Rider.
Very good. Next question.
Hi there, my name is Brianna Milan. Actually, a quick question about the Smough the Dragon. Tolkien originally described dragons very briefly, saying they had large mammalian ears and very sail-like wings, as well as being about 60 stories tall. How close do you think they're getting to making Smaug more in Tolkien's vision than otherwise?
It's hard to tell from just the head.
Because the head didn't have bigger ears.
Yeah, he definitely didn't have bunny ears.
Yeah.
But he does have wings because you see them that few moments at the very beginning of the film when he walks in or counts his way into the front entrance. And he flew it, obviously, from the north. So he does have wings, but how large he is, because we need to know how big his head is in comparison to his body. Because you do get a little scale, obviously, in that scene where you see him, but he does look enormous. When he walked in and his feet, compared to the dwarves, looked enormous. So I think size-wise, I think we're going to get the scale.
But you know, one of Tolkien's main inspirations was Beowulf in the Old English text, and in there they're described over and over again. The dragon is a worm, and so I think that what Weta has done with Smaug definitely resembles a more snake-like, serpentine creature than perhaps that description you brought up with mammalian ears. And so it's kind of a juggling act of do you go by, you know, a handful of words that are in the text, or do you go by what, you know, his overall inspiration was in his body of work that he was drawing upon was?
There's an issue for the digital animators at Weta, and I congratulate Richard Taylor and his whole team for all the hard work they do. But what they have to worry about is movable mouth parts, so that this creature can have articulate speech. I'm not talking about Sean Connery and Dragonheart. We're going way past that.
That was actually the one thing that concerned me, because when we saw Smaug's head in the trailer, the mouth goes way back, so it's sort of like this. And I'm like, how do you form words with a mouth like that?
You can see his lips and his tongue actually move a little bit. But my greater concern is those great sail-like wings that Professor Tolkien describes. The physics of getting a creature that large, airborne, is a whole other conversation entirely. Thank you. That's a very good question. And the most closely guarded secret in Hollywood is, what does this dragon look like?
Yeah.
And Cindy just...
I don't know, I sort of feel like Bjorn is a much more closely guarded secret, because we've seen even less of him.
One of our artists, Cindy, pointed out that the designs for Orthanc and Minister and many of these other designs closely matched artwork from Alan Lee and John Howe.
Right.
And that they've been a really driving force in some of because they've been drawing Middle-earth for so long. And so you've probably seen a very close facsimile of Smaug already in a book somewhere that exists.
Well, Alan Lee did do a drawing of Smaug for a version of The Hobbit many years ago, and it's a really great picture. And I think that just looking at the head, that this is going to sort of resemble that smell.
Next question.
It's a lifelong dream of mine to go to New Zealand. Is the Hobbit set going to be there for years to come?
Russell.
Russell? Yes.
Yes.
He said yes.
You guys, you have a wonderful weekly book.
I'll be working the booth on tomorrow. Come talk to me. I'm a travel agent. I specialize in
Oh, fun. There you go.
Yes.
Speaking of, Kelly Rice just published a book just a few days ago, just a week ago.
Yes.
I'm very impressed with this young lady. If you come and see her at the booth, she'll give you a card. You can scan the card with your QR reader. You can instantly download the book for a couple of bucks.
It's outstanding. My pen name is K.M. Rice, and the book is called Darkling, and it's an ebook available on Amazon if you're interested.
Very good.
It's very well written. I highly recommend it.
Next question.
All right, this is kind of a weird segue into the question, but as much as I love LOTR, I'm also a huge Dune fan. And something you said earlier, I found very interesting. And like a lot of Dune fans, they hate the new novels, right? They hate it, even though it does bring people into reading the original books. So when you said, you know, how do you like the deviations? And people were like, yay! It speaks to the fact that it worked. You know, people are still loving the books. So I guess my question for you is, where was the OneRing.net before Fellowship of the Ring dropped? Were you guys like? I feel really lucky because when I read the books right before Elijah Wood's face was all over the place as Frodo. So I had my own, you know, image in my mind while reading it. Thank God. Don't get me wrong, I love it. I'm just saying, like, it's a different experience now. It's impossible to read these books without picturing Ian McKellen as Gandalf. So where were you guys?
We were here. Fair enough. When I grew up, I visualized Ralph Bakshi's Frodo when I read the book. I really did, but then I was able to let my fertile young mind go to other places. And, you know, the thing is, maybe one of our fellow writers can chime in here. When you're bringing young people to something, they're going to devour these books. That's why the young person's publishing marketplace has exploded over the past 10 or 15 years. So let them read, let them absorb it, and they'll be able to come up with their own conclusions. And a lot of them will come to their dad and their mom and they'll say, this is so much better than movies. And that's going to be a blessing for them and for the next generation.
And the founders, actually, of the OneRing.net found each other online when it was first announced that these movies were getting made because they were all giant Tolkien fans. I mean, one of the founders is in New Zealand, one's in Wisconsin, one's in Canada, one's in Pennsylvania, but they all found each other and decided to form this website and to talk about the films.
And the OneRing.net actually had a panel in this room in 2001, 5 months before the movie came out, because Richard Taylor got it and spoke. And you were there with purple hair. And Chris, our webmaster. So they were here in 2001 with Sideshow Weta when they were together, and they had a small little in-cat booth downstairs with like 4 statues of the Lord of the Rings line. That became, for those of you who saw the Sideshow Weta statues, that was the very beginnings of the Sideshow Weta thing and of the One Ring doing panels. So we've been doing panels here since 2001. So
we've been doing this.
We've been here. Originally, my first job before I started writing any articles for the OneRing.net, I was working as an assistant for McKellen.com. And at the time, Ian McKellen had not even been cast as Magneto. He wasn't even cast as Gandalf yet. We had no idea at work that that double whammy was going to happen. Thank God it did. Thank God it did. And I tell you what, with a certain situation like Ian McKellen absolutely possessing the role, there can never be any other image in my mind, ever. And I'm glad to stick with it, even with the grumpier Gandalf boy.
Alice, what do you have for us?
That's a beautiful costume.
Thank you. This could be completely bad. I'm not really sure how much truth there is to it, but I heard speculation that in the trailer there's when Gandalf and Radagast are in the ruins, someone jumps down from a ledge. I heard speculation that that might be Thrain. Do you know if there's any truth to that?
We're pretty sure it's Thrain.
Actually,
I heard that.
Actually, you're talking about 2 different settings and 2 different places. We have Radagast and Gandalf inspecting the tombs of the ringlings.
And Gandalf doing his best Admiral Akbar
In the
impression.
trailer, they were
And then you see Thrain dropping down and attacking Gandalf by himself at Dol Guldur, which is many, many, many hundreds of miles.
And Radagast isn't with him in that particular sequence because this was actually from the original trailer. So you also saw that attack in the original trailer a year and a half ago.
What we don't know yet is how the filmmakers in their editing are going to reconcile the timeline of is Gandalf speaking about something in flashback, or when Thorin gets the ring from, the key. When Thorin receives that key from Gandalf at the unexpected party, I was hoping that Gandalf would explain a little bit more about the encounter with Thrain.
Like your
It is
father
not
is
explained.
for safekeeping.
And Richard Armitage says, how did you come by this? And he's like, I don't know, he doesn't really explain it. So maybe Gandalf will have another moment in flashback where he explains more. And poor Thrain has been tortured for years by Sauron, and he's completely lost his marbles. And Professor Tolkien says he didn't even remember his own name. The only thing he remembered was a map of the key. That's all. So we'll see. Yeah.
All right. Just what we want to end our convention experience on is a young fan.
Hello, sir.
Well, that is an awesome shirt. I wish I could have that shirt. And
Thank you.
if I do go to New Zealand, will it cost any money to actually go into Hobbit?
Not for you, sir.
Yes, you can have it for free if you just write us a little note on a $20 bill.
Ladies and gentlemen, this will be the last question.
Excellent. Russell, remember that voice.
Make it a good one.
Alright, so I was just wondering, for the very first Hobbit, we experienced more of like a humorous kind of feeling, I thought, than we were used to in Lord of the Rings. And I was just wondering if the next two are going to be more of a serious tone, or...
They're definitely going to be darker.
Mirkwood is dark, so everyone's mood will be dark.
The Battle of the Five Armies, I think, is going to be pretty dark.
Yeah. Just knowing how it ends, and I will say why.
Spoilers.
You know spoilers, Justin.
Although it'll start light, because they basically are going to go see Bjorn, and aside from being attacked by a giant bear, hopefully they get served by food by ponies.
You know, I kind
But
of
at
like
least
that.
they get to catch up, be glad they're alive, and then they enter a really, really dark place, of course.
You're on to something.
I like that it's starting with the Bjorn, because there is something kind of whimsical about Bjorn's house that I think is a nice way to start it before they go into Mirkwood and capture and Smiders and tragedy.
And then a dragon. But yes,
Richard.
is a tragic character. Ultimately a tragic story.
Richard Armitage is on record saying that, you know, you're going to be happy that you had so much lightheartedness in the beginning of the first film.
He said that.
Yeah, considering where they're about to go.
Fascinating. Well, you know, in Fellowship of the Ring, two of your lead characters die. In The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, nobody dies. And the movie is very light on its feet, it's very leisurely, you get to enjoy all these fun things, and a little bit of comedy from the trolls, who think they know cooking. You know, the light sprinkler sage.
Yeah, those trolls were not Gormons. I don't care what they were talking about.
And of course, there was the cartoon fighting, you know, that whole escape from Goblin Town, the fall down the cliffs, and nothing bad happens to anybody.
I felt it was more like, the Escape from Gotham Town always struck me more like The Hobbit, the ride.
Let's start a rumor.
But I'll tell you
Whoa, all right. Let's take that quote out of context, people. Do it.
No. Let's bring it back to Professor Tolkien, because in The Hobbit, in Tolkien's book, he changes his language and his tone to go from very light and very Narnia, and then all of a sudden he takes us to something that's quite a bit more Lord of the Rings-esque by the end of The Hobbit. And you know why. The Arkenstone, the dragon, what is Bard dealing with, his lineage, and what is Thorin dealing with, and all of his family, what's at stake for reclaiming the kingdom. And then here comes Billy Connolly riding into battle on a boar as David Ironfoot. We have a lot of really cool, serious stuff, and I think the filmmakers are going to try to bring the tone at the end of the Hobbit trilogy to bring more with the tone of the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
I want to see the war moose and the war boar. I want to see the war moose and the war boar.
Well, we've already seen a war moose, so ready for the war.
But yeah, see the war moose and the war charging each other. That's my desktop background right there.
Awesome.
All right, so last call. Any costumers, let's head out and get a quick little shot of people in Tolkien costume outside, right behind
But we all have to exit this way.
And
We go out, that's why I'm pointing that way.
But also, thank you all so much for coming to our panel today. And
Thank you all for coming.